Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I was on Instagram the other day, and who am I kidding? I'm on Instagram every day. But I saw this one meme, and I kind of get this a lot. I mean, my algorithm is full of like a whole bunch of different things because I have different interests. One of the themes is like a lot of spiritual content. And I get a lot of like memes and videos of people asking questions to psychics, or like really spiritual questions, or like life questions, philosophical questions. And it got me thinking about the most common questions people ask psychics. And I've had a lot of these questions, so I actually looked it up. What are the most common questions people ask psychics? So I looked this up and I was like, oh, this is a really interesting topic, and I would love to record some of my answers for a YouTube video. So hopefully this video is interesting. I find it really interesting. For a while, before I started really getting into my psychic gifts and really accepting and owning them more, I have seen psychics, and I still see psychics to this day, like maybe once every 6 months, just because it's fun. It's kind of fun to see what they have to say and see if it aligns with my own intuition, basically, because I take everything with a grain of salt. Now, for me personally, what I don't like reading is certain timelines. And so I've seen a few psychics in the past where they've read certain timelines for me. And the thing is with timelines, you always have to take that with a grain of salt, because timelines are changing all the time, depending on your decisions, what you are intending. And by intending, I mean manifesting, because we are always technically manifesting. So what you're intending for your life, your decisions, your belief systems, your timelines are always aligning to what you believe in. And so timelines always change. And now I've had certain readings where certain timelines are being read. And yes, certain things do come to pass because there are certain lessons that we need to learn. And it doesn't matter how the lessons happen, the lessons are still the thing that's going to happen and to learn. So some things are just destiny, just fate. It's soul contract, however you want to call it. But the way it plays out doesn't always have to be that specific way. So anyways, I was on a certain timeline track years ago. That's what was being read, and I thought that that was the only path in my life, so I stayed on that path. And when I started getting to energy healing, I started aligning with my highest and best, and I was intending my highest and best, my highest and best. And so I got rudely taken off of my previous timeline track because it wasn't for my highest and best, is what I'm assuming, because I was yanked from it so hard because I wasn't listening to my intuition. I'm always aligning to my highest and best timeline, my highest version of myself timeline. Basically, that's what I'm aligning to always. And so certain things don't work out and certain things do, and that's just the way it is. So with that being said, it's always interesting to me the most common questions that psychics get asked. And I get asked some of these questions as well whenever I'm doing energy healing for clients and psychic readings, because I read the Akashic records. It's really interesting to get these questions and to navigate them in a way that's going to make sense for their soul and what their soul wants them to know. Because the thing is a lot of these questions are human questions and not soul-led questions, which is still fine and fun. But let's begin. And I have a lot of human questions that I ask my intuition and, my spirit guides and all that. But I do say psychic sometimes because I do find it super fun. If I want to just have fun and have a good time and just see anything else my spirit guides want to tell me that maybe I'm not listening to because I'm too close to the situation, it's always fun. But if I want to get to soul-led answers, like my big life questions or life lessons, contracts, past lives, I go to my Akashic records. Okay, there are a lot. I didn't want this video to be that long, but there are a lot of questions. So I'll go through some, and if y'all like this video, let me know. Definitely leave a like and subscribe, and comment if you've ever seen a psychic, or what kind of questions you ask psychics, or what kind of questions you would ask a psychic if you were to see one for yourself, or your Akashic records, or a question you'd always want to ask your soul, something you've always wanted to know about your soul or about your lifetime or anything like that. Comment down below, but I'll go through some questions, and if y'all like this video, then I will make another one answering some more questions. Okay, I'm going to start with love and relationships because I think it's really interesting, because this is a lot of my personal experience as well. This, I'm going to be speaking from lived experience here. And the thing is, okay, so first of all, my disclaimer is any of my videos Anything I say is not medical, financial, or legal advice, diagnosis, or treatment. It's just informational material only. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't, of course. So the first question is for love and relationships. Is this my soulmate or twin flame? And I've gotten this question before. I've asked this question, and I've also gotten this question before. The thing is about soulmates is really another way of saying that, like, if you believe in, so I'm speaking from my belief system in terms of answering these questions, okay? So if nothing resonates, just leave it. You've met them in a past life, soulmates. So with soulmates could be your pet that you connect with, family, friends, coworkers, anyone. You meet somebody in the grocery store and you have a conversation for 5 minutes because there was maybe something in that conversation that you needed, or someone smiled at you today or was nice to you, or there's something that you needed from that interaction for some reason. I believe in destiny and fate, and there's always something that happens for a reason. I believe everything happens for a reason. And so maybe there's a message for you in that interaction, and that can be considered a soulmate even though you've only had a 5-minute conversation with that person. It's anything that your soul needs. So it's basically soul alignment, right? So it's like, if it's in alignment for your highest and best, or your soul evolution, or however you want to call it, you can be attracted to certain people or certain frequencies, certain energies can be attracted towards each other like magnets. And the outcome can be, for the highest and best of that person, or a lesson or something like that. So that's kind of the thing with soulmates, is typically speaking, when speaking about soulmates, it's not so much, your lifetime partner. Like, this is my lifetime partner. That's a choice. And sometimes when we feel like soul fam, like that's a term in the spiritual community, like soul fam, it's kind of like you just click with somebody. Like, you meet somebody for the first time and you feel like you've been friends for years. You're just instantly connected. And that is soulmate. Your soul remembers that other soul from another lifetime, or from the spirit realm, or from another dimension, another planet, another experience together. Your soul remembers. And so that's why you have such a visceral connection to them. My phone's not on Do Not Disturb while I'm recording. Typical, what's new? Instagram is messaging me, but I don't, okay, whatever. Moving on. So that's soulmate. So it doesn't have to be a romantic partner, and it could be anyone in your life, and you can have multiple. It's just that your soul remembers that person. And so I've had soulmates in my life, many, obviously. It's just that your soul remembers that person. It feels familiar, and you could have contracts or lessons with that person to live out. It doesn't mean you're going to be with them forever. You can if you choose to, but it just means there is something from a previous life that needs to play out in this lifetime for a lesson for your soul evolution in soul contract to move on from, clear, and move on to the next lesson, basically the next soul evolution, the next contract. So that's soulmate. It's kind of like soul fam. It doesn't have to be one specific person. It's actually multiple souls that you have soulmates with. And also with family too, right? Like with family, we live many lifetimes with the same souls because we have karmic loops with certain souls to close up from previous lifetimes. And so we typically reincarnate with the same souls. More or less. Sometimes we have new contracts with new souls, but typically with family, we all switch up roles so that we can all learn from each other. And twin flame. So a lot of people ask about twin flames. And with a twin flame, now I'm going to speak as if this is fact. This is not fact. This is what I believe. With a twin flame, though, what that actually is let's say my soul, my actual soul frequency, the frequency of my soul incarnated here in this time-space reality in this lifetime. Now, let's say that happened twice. So it's my soul incarnated into this time-space reality, was born into this time-space reality twice in two separate bodies. It's like a doppelganger effect, if I can get the point across, if that makes more sense, but it's not really a doppelganger. It's really like your soul is born into two different bodies. So it's your soul. It's not like a split soul. It's not like that. It's just like your frequency incarnated twice into the same time space reality. So that's what a twin flame is. And typically with twin flames, they can be romantic partners because you feel an immediate divine love for that person, for the other person, which is you. In another body. It's your soul in another body, right? In the same time space reality. And so typically you do feel a really strong pull, a really strong connection to that person. It's different than a soulmate. It's a different feeling, but it's basically you, right? And you feel this incredible, immense amount of divine love for that other person, which is you, because it's you, right? Because you love yourself. And at our core, we do love ourselves, and we are conditioned to not. in this society, right? But at our core, at our soul level core, we recognize that soul, that frequency, and we have immense divine love for that person, which is you. And that's what a twin flame is. And so the twin flame, that's a whole topic. Like I could go on for hours about that, about the journey of the twin flame and all that kind of stuff, but that's what a twin flame is. It's not a soulmate. It's not your divine partner. You don't have to be in a romantic relationship with that person. Some twin flames actually choose not to engage with each other, and some do. So it really just depends on the experience they choose to have in their soul evolution. It's really up to them. Are we meant to be together? This is the thing. I mean, obviously it's all individual. It's all individual on how I would answer this, because I'm going to be getting intuitive messages for that specific person. However, asking a question, are we meant to be together, is really asking yourself that question, because as humans, we can get so attached to things, and I'm speaking from personal experience. Like, hello, but we can get so attached to things and certain outcomes and certain people that we are missing the point of why we're here. We are here to love, grow, learn, explore, right? And we're here for a good time, not a long time. I love that saying. I don't know, that saying's been coming up to me in the last few days of like, we're here for a good time, not a long time. And so it's really asking yourself, like, if you're asking, are we meant to be together? Then there's an inkling of you that doesn't want to be. When people ask me this question, and I've asked this myself, is like, I see the truth underneath the question. So if I'm reading somebody's energy in a reading or an energy healing session, I'm asking the question that's underneath the question. So what is it about that relationship or about that person that is making you question that? And are you okay with not continuing on the path that you're on? Like, what is it that's making you ask that question? Are you meant to be together? Right? Because it's, it's not about, it's kind of like convincing energy, like trying to convince that you're meant to be together. And some people might just ask that question for fun. Be like, yeah, obviously, like I want to be with this person. Like, this is my person, like obviously, but I'm just asking just for fun, just to see what you'd say. Then it's like, okay, well, you already know the answer. Right? Like as soon as the thing is with questions, is as soon as you ask a question, you typically have the answer, because your intuition is telling you, or your higher self is telling you. It's just really, really subtle answers. And sometimes we're so close to it that we don't want to hear it. Guilty. I just actually had this come up recently where I've been asking this question to my spirit guides and my higher self for a very long time, but I didn't want the answer. I didn't like the answer they were giving me, so I was pretending like I didn't know. Not consciously. I wasn't conscious. I wasn't consciously doing that, right? And I just figured it out recently. Will my ex come back? See, that's a timeline. And the thing is with that question, I would start by saying there are multiple timelines, and there's always a possibility. There's infinite timelines. So yeah, of course, there's a possibility of that person coming back into your life. Also, what I want to preface as well, sometimes people come back into your life when you're leveling up. They can feel the energy of you leveling up, glowing up, expanding, living your life, and people will come back into your life. It's really up to you. It's really for your highest and best. You have to make a decision. What's going to make you happiest? The thing is like with that question is, it's also like, will my ex come back? Like it's reading into that person's energy. So I wouldn't read into somebody else's energy or somebody else's timeline in a reading. So I would say, that's really up to that person. And I can't read into their energy. I can't read into what they're thinking, feeling, or what they're going to do in the future, especially because they have infinite timelines, you have infinite timelines. And so that's kind of where I would lead with that. With all of these questions, there's a question underneath the question. Like it's not the actual question that they want to know. And so it's all individual, and I would kind of get to the core of what they're actually asking, right? It's like, will they ever experience this feeling again? Is it a feeling? Is it adrenaline? Is it nostalgia? Is it like, what is it that you want to feel or experience? Because with all these questions, it's really like how you want to feel. Okay, moving on from love and relationships. Should I change my job or start something new? If you're asking that question, you already know the answer. The answer is in the question, because if you're asking if you should change your job and start something new, you already want to. And what you're really asking is, will this work out? How do I trust that this is going to work out? How do I trust this is for my highest and best? How do I trust I'm going to get money? How do I trust that I'm not going to fail? How do I trust I'm going to support myself? How do I trust that I'm going to be happy? There's no guarantee. There is no guarantee in life, and you have to trust your intuition. That's life. Like that's the scary part of life. That's the fun part of life. Like fear and excitement is very similar frequencies, very similar. Like they are toe to toe, and that's life. That's the richness of it. That's the fun of it. And if you fail, so what? Like answer that for yourself. So what? Ask yourself pros and cons. right? And start with a pros and cons list. You clearly want to leave your job. It's not making you happy. Okay, so what's the next steps? What's the pros and cons list of leaving it, right? And if the pros outweigh the cons, maybe start something new while you have this job. There are infinite possibilities, especially in this day and age, to do what you actually enjoy. And maybe you need to keep your job and to start your side projects on the side. If you want it, you'll do it, period. People, we make excuses, and are you going to make excuses when you're on the other side? To put it bluntly, you get this lifetime once. Yes, we have infinite lives and infinite timelines, but you get this consciousness in this lifetime, this time, right now. So have fun with it. Again, all these answers are going to be individual to the person on how I would answer and how I would intuit, because my intuition and spirit guides will be telling me specific things I need to know, but that's generally how I feel about that question. People ask this a lot. I still ask this question because we don't know everything. No one knows everything. I ask myself at least once a week, what am I doing? I don't know. Do any of us know what we're doing? This question is, what's my soul's purpose? Let me know when you find out the answer. No, I'm kidding. Soul's purpose, I've meditated on this question for, I kind of want to say, my whole life. I've had really, really, really deep philosophical thoughts and questions about the universe, about life, about living, about death, about the other side, since I was 3 years old. Honestly, no dramatics, since I was 3. And it's kind of scared me for a long time, because I'm like, what is the point of all of this? What's my soul's purpose? What is happening? And what I've come to understand is really your soul's purpose is you living. That's your soul's purpose here in this earth, is to live, love, grow, experience, expand, understand empathy, compassion, forgiveness, heal, ancestral healing. There are infinite possibilities to your soul's purpose, and you get to choose what your soul's purpose is. And the question underneath this question, what my soul's purpose is what's going to make me happiest and make money? Because I feel like that's the biggest question for people. There's a question underneath the question, what's my soul's purpose? Well, what am I meant to be doing, and how am I going to make money doing it? The thing is, that's a whole other conversation, right? So it's just something to think about of what the actual question is. But for me personally, you have to really dive into what this means for you. For me, it's really been just living my life. It is joy. It is finding joy. It is my purpose. This is also going to be connected to your past lives, and specifically what your soul came here to learn and experience. And for me, it's really just having fun. This lifetime for me is really about having fun. It's about living life. And I feel like there's a lot of people, there's a lot of souls on this earth that's their purpose for this lifetime. I feel like that's really a collective thing. So what's your soul's purpose? I mean, that's just going to be really individual. I mean, first we're going to go into the Akashic records. We're going to go in there. We're going to figure some shit out. But, it's really, how do you want to live your life, man? And we tend to put a lot of responsibility on other people to give us answers because it's easier. But we have a lot of power that we don't want to take responsibility for. Every circumstance, individual life experience is going to be individual for them. This answer is going to be individual for each and every person, generally speaking. At the soul level, not at the human level, because I feel like at the human level, there are certain things that we go through that it just is what it is. And you can't change that it is what it is, right? But at the soul level, on the contract level, soul level, it's a choice that we came here on earth to live and grow and experience and expand and all that kind of stuff. So it's really our life experience is what it is. However, now moving forward, how are we going to choose to experience our life? That's what that is. So there's questions about, I've already kind of touched on this. There's questions about future guidance and timelines. For example, what's coming next for me? Is there anything I should prepare for? That's going to be individual to the person on how I would read this, because again, I might get information that they might be pertinent for them to know from their spirit guides. But typically speaking, I don't read timelines. There might be something as a general energetic theme for the person to know, but with timelines, because it kind of messed me up for a little bit. Seeing psychics for specific timelines, I typically don't read those for other people, because we can say, oh, we're going to take this with a grain of salt. I've already said that I'm going to take this with a grain of salt and it's not really going to affect me. No, it did. And I didn't want to admit that for a really long time. I was so stuck on that timeline because I'm like, oh, this is my path, period. And it's like, well, it can be a path. It's just not your highest and best. It's not your highest timeline. And so because I was intending my highest timeline, it got changed. And so now I always intend my highest timeline, and I just kind of go with the flow and surrender and just see what happens next. And I'm still having intentions and for my life moving forward and actions and all that kind of stuff. But it's like, I don't know what life's going to throw me. I've had so many curveballs in my life, in my short life so far, that I just, spirit take the wheel. I don't know. It's like my hands are on the steering wheel and I'm steering the ship, but the wind's going to take me. And if the wind wants to go that way, then okay. Yeah. So with spirit guides and intuition, there's a lot of questions of like, who are my spirit guides? My intuition real? How can I connect with my spirit team or my intuition or whatever? I used to actually teach the psychic clairs and intuition and spirit guides and all that kind of stuff. I just recently am rebranding and changing my setup for that. So I'm going to figure out how to get that back online, but I have some courses in that. So that's going to be a whole other thing that I'm going to do eventually at some point. Yeah, and the rest of these are so individual to the person, like life transitions and uncertainty. Man, how do I trust the process? That's the thing. Yeah, all those questions are going to be really individual to the person for sure. Because all these questions, I've had to sit with these deep questions, these deep underlying questions, I've really had to sit with for a while in my own personal healing journey and just sit with my heart. And just hold myself. And lots of crying and screaming is involved sometimes in life when things are occurring all at once, especially. And it's like, whoa, what is happening? Yeah. But there's a lesson in everything, right? And that's really individual to the person that we would unpack all of that and figure out what's really going on here. I love those questions. I love the deep questions, the deep-rooted questions. I love getting to the question underneath the question. It's like, what are you really asking? What are you really asking? Because I feel like even for me, I've had questions like this. It's like, I ask a question. It's like, that's not the actual question. It's like, what are you actually asking? What's the question underneath the question? It's really interesting. For loved ones, there's always questions about loved ones. And I love these. They're so beautiful. The thing is like, especially with loved ones and spirits and ghosts and the paranormal, I have so many theories and questions about the paranormal, which is why I want to continue with paranormal investigations. And that's going to be a whole 2026 adventure, is paranormal investigations and figuring out where I'm going to do that and how I'm going to do that with spirits. And it's really interesting for mediumship. Obviously, all these answers are going to be individual to the person, obviously. Most loved ones do move on. There's some that don't, that are individual to the soul, feel guilty, are held here by their loved ones. I've had spirits ask me to move them on. And I have, because they had unfinished business and they're finished now, they want to move on to the other side. And I've had that come up before as well. And so typically with spirits, when they move on and go to the other side, they're at peace. They're chilling. They're having a good time. Their soul is growing on the other side. And I have lots of loved ones on the other side. It's just been my personal experience since I was really young, just experiencing a lot of grief and death around me. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's always interesting to see what your loved ones have to say, for sure. It's always fun. I am a psychic medium and I see spirits all the time. Loved ones, specifically. Only loved ones are allowed in my house. No other spirits are allowed here. And I connect with them a lot, but I also once in a while will see a psychic just to hear from them, to give my psychic senses a break and to just hear from loved ones and see, any messages they have. It's always really fun. Can they see what's happening in my life? Yes. With that, obviously that might be more individual, but because there's no time and space in the higher dimensions, yes, they know what's going on in your life. And also, they're not always with you. They're not always there. They do know, but they don't always have to physically witness things in your life to know what's happening, right? So it's kind of like an interesting way to explain this, because there is no time and space in higher dimensions, right? So they're in higher dimensions, however you want to call that, heaven, sixth dimension, however you want to describe that, right? They're in a higher dimension and their soul is growing and expanding on the other side as well. And they do a life review. That's a whole thing. They go through their life and they pick out things that they learned and then want to learn and then want to go back on, or they do a whole life review and they're chilling. In the higher dimensions, it is more challenging to come back to the third dimension here. They have to lower their frequency. They have to lower their density, basically, in order to communicate here at the third dimension. And so, which is is why I've done a lot of work, especially as an energy healer. A lot of energy healers and psychics will raise their frequency, raise their vibration in terms of consciousness and energy work to kind of meet the spirit world halfway. So we raise our frequency, and that's why it's like a radio station. Like you turn your radio station to a specific dial and you can hear the songs, right? It's kind of like that. So, well, I hope that answered some questions. But this was really fun for me to answer some of these in my perspective, in my lived experience. And if you liked this video, definitely give it a like, a thumbs up. And if you want me to do this video again, definitely let me know. I will do a video like this. I will do similar videos where I'll answer questions. I can answer your specific questions if you have any questions. That'd be super fun. So all my links will be linked down below. And thank you so much for watching this video. I had so much fun. I will see y'all next week for next week's video. Bye.